All right, fuck it. Hi, hello. Welcome to episode 105 Dissonant Waves. We got a minute into the recording and I realized OBS wasn't recording. I'm Dominic. Ritz and
Better know
Tricks
it
are
now.
here. Better to know it
Hello.
now. Yes. Uh Big episode 105. Last episode before our third anniversary episode. This will air way after that, but that's okay. We're going to take a little bit of a break. Tricks has COVID. We have a bunch of albums to cover. Ritz went to JPEG Mafia and Pup concerts. A lot is happening. We're barely
Yeah,
hanging on.
and by the time this video gets up, it's gonna be old news. But for now, it's still just hyped about that person who jumped from the balcony. Broke his leg. Great time. What did he think was gonna happen?
Excellent.
And
Yeah,
we're
wasn't a
also
case. I was just gonna say, it wasn't a case of someone trying to harm themselves. They just legitimately thought they could jump into the mosh.
Jesus Christ. Oh, we're also
Yeah.
recording early in the morning here in America, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., like old times. So, let us dig in to. We got a bunch of shit going on this week. We're listening to Full-On Monet by Husbands, You've Got to Be Kidding Me by fanclubwallet, Hellfire by Black Midi, Diaspora Problems by SOUL GLO, and I made everyone listen to the Migrations Annex EP by The Deer Hunter, finally.
Yeah, and you'd think we'd start off with doing that, but I actually suggest that we start off talking about the fan club wallet one because I've been talking more about finally actually going to do that, and then hadn't done it, and then I'm like, well, now we should do it because probably I'll forget to do it otherwise.
Yeah.
So now we got the fan club wallet album finally came out after years and years of waiting, and by years and years I mean not even a year. Obviously, I covered. What are you gonna say,
I
Dominic?
was like, Fan Club Wallet started in like 2020, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously we covered their EP last year when I brought it up because I thought it was one of my favorite EPs of 2021. Still kind of is. Still enjoyed it. This one definitely a bit of a sound direction change on here. I think it was a pretty good album. All things considered. So wanted to cover it, and now we finally are. Now we've got the fan club wallet album. That's my
Yes.
introduction.
So, this album is really fucking cool. I really
Yeah,
love
I
the
was,
I really love the
I
interplay
was
between the lyrics and the instrumentation. They flow really well together, and they are constantly unique and interesting.
mm. It's not one of those albums which I'm going to consider like as an album of the year. Like, it'll probably be in my top 20 and stuff. Saying that, but I think it's an album that's got flaws. It's definitely a debut, but when we talk about it just in a collection of songs, there are some really interesting and fun songs on here. I mean, the song that was practically the lead single, even though it wasn't the first single, Great Timing, was obviously like this big direction change compared to the EP, and I was pretty excited from it, just from that single alone. And we do have an album that kind of mostly sounds like that a lot of the times, but we do get some like kind of more different moments on it as well that I thought were interesting. Like Toast had this record scratch that happens throughout it, which shouldn't work, but it's just fun and kind of like goes into this. It's kind of like this playful production that's happening into it, if you kind of get what I mean. Like it's not like it's not serious, but it's not serious yet.
So I was critical of the Fan Club Wallet EP back last year because I felt that it was not really standing out on its own. It wasn't super unique. It wasn't really doing anything that a lot of other artists are doing in this like realm of like female fronted pop rock outfits.
Mm.
I think this album shows that no, Fan Club Wallet is doing more and is more unique and more playful, like you said. That shows why they are interesting and cool to listen to.
Mm.
You know, and it's like I'm not trying to be sexist. So when I say this, of course, there is also a male fronted version of this, which is more like the Arlies of the world.
I mean, it's definitely the EP was a lot more kind of like slacker indie is the best way
Right.
I'll describe it. More sounding like it kind of been like a pavement reminiscent times, and other times it just sound like, yeah. I mean, I like Car Crash in G major. It wasn't my favorite off the album. It was just another songwriter with a guitar.
Yeah. But
But
this feels like something that's like they were really trying to do something with more interesting, just like ideas like the record scratching or like more electronic stuff going on, mixing that with like the acoustic lo-fi.
yeah, there were definitely attempts on this record as well that it feels like it wants to be more of an album than it actually does end up being. Like, my issue with this album is that it is feel like a collection of songs more than it does an album. But like, you have the interlude of 55, which is obviously just an interlude song. That one doesn't really stand out on its own. And it's a cool little interlude, but there's no real reason for the interlude to be there, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, it's not like Hellfire where there is more thought given to how everything's constructed.
Yeah, well, there's no... Like, I don't need any time to decompress everything that I've heard, because, one, I think only 15 minutes or something has gone past by the time I'm actually checking the timings on it. I think it's really only 15 minutes, if I'm correct. Maybe not even that, before the interlude comes in, and that's like 2 minutes of this record. It's 34 minutes in total. It doesn't really need one, especially when, yes, there's some interesting ways that the production is done in here, but there's nothing real avant-garde, or even there hasn't really been enough like time going in here. Or more importantly, it doesn't feel like it needs to be a filler to flow in between tracks or anything. It just feels like an interlude that's an interlude for the sake of being an interlude. And don't get me wrong, it's a fine interlude. I think there's just a good kind of like chill 2 minutes in it, but it's not like it's actually important.
I mean, that's fine for me. I don't need it to be like this important interlude thing. If they just want to put an instrumental track on the album, they can do that. Like, there's nothing saying they can't.
I know, but like you have that kind of shorter, kind of like simpler track in the end and beyond.
Sure. I mean, Plush did that back in the day when we listened to that one. Yeah. There was the instrumental track.
And there's a sort of like 30, like, there's like a 55-second like kind of talking track at the end, isn't it?
For Plush,
at the top.
They had like a 2-minute something. Was it Big Train or Sleeper Cab? Yeah, Sleeper Cab.
Yeah, it was either Sleeper Cab or OK.
It was Sleeper Cab. I remember now.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the longest title, so I'm going to trust you on that.
I remember because I
trust you on everything. But yeah.
But I was reminded a lot of like 90s kind of like singer-songwriter albums. Like I was getting like a lot of like Alanis Morissette vibes and that kind of thing. Like maybe not produced that level, but yes.
No, I get what you mean, and I do feel like this also at least has the benefit of being, sounding a lot more modern and kind of like this definitely sounds a lot more unique than Heard Is Boring does, and I like Heard Is Boring a lot. I think it's definitely held up a lot by the song, like the lyric writing, and the songwriting on it's pretty impressive. Like it's a catchy 13 minutes. And I was a big fan of it, and it's definitely translated onto this record as well. I don't think there's been any kind of loss of the kind of lyrical content that they were going for in the first EP, or the kind of way that they're talking about stuff in there. Like it was never like academic level of literature that we were spanning through in any of these lyrics and stuff, but it never really needed to be, and it kind of just felt good with the kind of vibes, I guess. I don't know what the pretentious words I can use to describe what I'm going for here is, but
like they're just song lyrics. They're just describing how the writer feels.
Yeah, I don't think there's been any kind of trade-off to get any improvements that's happened on this album. Obviously, there's still quite a while to go before I think this is anything like legacy-worthy or anything like that. But for the period of time that fanclubwallet existed, it's holding pretty strong.
Yes. Like, to give an example, I know that when I was reading that by the time they got to recording That I Won't Do, and that kind of became the sound that they wanted for the album. That specifically, when they mixed that and everything. And, like, looking at That Won't Do, or That I Won't Do, that's only, like, 2 verses. It's nothing you said, like, that's, like, an amazingly poetic, masterpiece or something like that. It's just 2 verses, and they're fine. Rattling around my head like rocks. I don't want to talk. I want to talk to you. Cross off my checklist of things I'll say. I won't do, but I'll do them again anyways. That's one of the verses, And it's totally fine. It works for what it is.
I mean, there are some lines in here which, again, in that kind of description that we're trying to order the high place. I don't know what the best way to do it. Maybe I'm fried at APM myself. But there's still lines in here that I think are kind of funny. Like, I think it's in Trying to Be Nice. The line, change the name on Facebook. I can't remember my own name, so I'll just change it on Facebook to confuse you and my own friends. Which is just, I don't know if there's really any point to it, but it just kind of gets a chuckle.
Or there's just like moments of just imagery that works really well. Like, you came to my house, opened all the jars, and left them out. I guess that makes us and them past the expiration date.
Yeah.
Like, that's the song Jar, and like that's a great opening. That sticks out really well.
And obviously, I want to
Go
give a little bit of a highlight to the closing track on here, the self-titled one, or the title track. So, you have got to be kidding me.
Mhm.
Which that one I was surprised how much of a good closer that was
Yes.
compared to like Solid Ground's an alright opening, but Great Timing may as well just be the opening.
Yes. I like those
Yeah.
those two tracks a lot, but I do agree that Great Timing feels more like the opening.
Yeah. But like you've got to be kidding me, really kind of closes off this album and the sounds that it's going to. Plus it is a fantastic track in itself. Like I don't think there's really I know I'm giving you criticisms to this album, but when I'm talking about it as a collection of songs, there's actually no bad song on here. There's
No.
obviously better songs than others, and I wouldn't consider some of the songs in here to be as good as some of the songs that we're covering on the other albums that we're talking about today.
No.
But here, you know, there's some great pop rock, slacker rock, indie rock, DIY on here. I mean, the actual band that we should probably be comparing this to that we've covered is Porridge Radio, which has a kind of very similar kind of like deadpan, I guess, delivery.
Sure.
And a lot of the vocals. I know you weren't so much into Porridge Radio. I know
This is so much
was
better.
a lot more. Yeah. Although we can get Trix to do a quick rating while she's fucked up with COVID.
I enjoyed this album. Better than Porridge Radio. I'm too fried to remember specifics right now. I just remember enjoying it.
That's totally fair. Like I don't think,
That's-
especially with some of the other albums, like the songs don't super stand out necessarily like Hellfire or something does, but overall the vibes are good. Overall, it is a really solid impression.
Yeah, hopefully when album 2 comes out as well, there's just a continuation on improvements instead of like I don't know what their songwriting's going to be like, but they don't really have a major hit outside of a Car Crash and G Major is their biggest song. So
Right. They were
I don't
known
think
for
they have
the
any.
they were known for the David
go
Byrne
ahead.
cover early on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's any reason to kind of like stick to a certain style or continue on. So I hope instead of just kind of like I see it a lot with album 2s when they you know when there's a song of the first album that's actually quite big, you see a lot of like attempts to replicate and then just do the first album or that one song again. I'm hoping we don't get that and we continue to see what we're seeing from the EP into this album and just a lot of improvement. Obviously, like I've rated that EP pretty high. When it came to the whole terms of things, that's just because I rate EPs and albums differently. It's a weird thing. Like I would probably, if you asked me to give a score to this EP, I would give it a higher one than the so to this album. I would give the EP higher than the album, but I'd probably come back and say that I've enjoyed the album more than the EP. If you kind of get what I mean.
Okay, interesting. I don't know if I exactly get it, but
I can get that.
Anyway, I'm very happy to see where they go from here, and obviously there's stuff that's going to stay in my playlist. Toast is a great song as well.
I think this is a really great week overall listening. I think all these albums could be number ones in different weeks. I really enjoyed this overall. This will rank pretty high for me, especially compared to my feelings on the EP, which is also a theme for me this week. You know, not enjoying the previous project that we covered last year, but enjoying what came since much, much more.
Do we want to continue on to that trend? And I think I know what album you're talking about, but first let's just do our favorites and least favorites.
Yes, sure.
Favorites, Great Timing, Toast, You've Got to Be Kidding Me. Least favorite, probably something like a Solid Ground because it doesn't really need to exist, or Coming Over.
Favorites for me probably like 55, Solid Ground, Great Timing. I don't really have a least favorite.
I'm too fried to be able to tell you anything.
And just for the record,
do that?
Just for the record, Trix, we're not forcing you to be here, right?
No, you're not. I'm more here for moral support than anything.
We appreciate you being here. If you need to ever sign off, please
got
do. But we do appreciate you're here. We hope you get better soon.
I should be fine soon.
Yeah, it's just the beginnings of COVID.
Yeah, anyway, let's get to the album that will absolutely kill Trix, and let's do Black Midi's Hellfire.
Holy crap. What the fuck is this album?
I listened to this album while COVID was like first hitting really bad, and fuck, that was a bit much.
Welcome to hell, Tricks. Welcome to hell.
I'm really glad we listened to Beefheart earlier this year.
I'm really glad we listened to Cavalcade.
Yeah, I don't even fuck Cavalcade. I didn't really super like that album very much. And now this
I liked it, but not as much as I like Schlangenheim. And yeah, no, I fuck with this. This is great.
Like there's a vibe to this. This is like kind of what we talked about with the literary booky lyrics. Like this is a old world fucking 20th century authors writing about this shit kind of thing.
Yeah, we're gonna be seeing in the next couple centuries people talking about this album, and we'll go, "Oh, what does your sniveling fuck mean?"
Like in another time, this is like a fucking Ernest Hemingway novel or something. Then it's not super much a cohesive tale, but it does kind of feel like one to me, where there's themes and ideas. Then the vibe is just so consistent that it could be a loose narrative of some sort.
Now I'm going to put Dominic on the spot because that's the best thing that you can possibly do on this podcast is to absolutely put someone on the spot. And I wrote a bit ago that there was a rumor here that the Black Midi album was going to get a 10 out of 10 from the Fantano, and you wrote, "Oh good, I wonder if he'll have the same opinion as me." Dominic, what do you mean by this?
So I figured that, if that was the rumor, then Fantano was probably going to like it. He gave it a strong 9.
Yeah, you were very excited about that, seeming as you're happy to disagree with Fantano as well, which, granted, so is everyone who has a brain. But
I struggle with this, right? And I struggle with this for a couple reasons. But the other album to really talk about here for me, this is right now my album of the year. And the comparison to make for me is Black Country New Roads album, Answer Up There, which we listened to very early on, and I've been looking to see.
It's also a very understandable comparison to do, seeing as Black Midi and Black Country exist in the exact same space.
Yes, and that Black Midi or Black Country New Road record has been kind of the king since it came out. You've had Petrol Girls kind of come in and take over, but for the most part, it's been the one album and everything else has fallen below. That being said, I really, really like a lot of what happens on that record. I think, the one I'm going to go back to more, the one I'm going to love, is probably going to be the Black Country New Road record. I think that's incredible. The one song I don't like is Good Will Hunting. But I think that album is otherwise a masterpiece. That being said, that album also runs into a very big issue, which is not its fault, but Isaac Woods left the band.
Yeah. So you'll never see it live and never get the context of it being live.
I mean, you can watch some performances of some of those songs live, like Basketball Shoes, you can see. But that is very much an end of an era. That is very much a time and place album that cannot be super replicated the way the band is now.
Yeah.
So there is that problem. And for me, the reason I didn't like Petrol Girls more than the Black Country record was that I thought the Petrol Girls album, Baby, did a really good job of doing riot girl punk. But other than being really political, did not seem to me to be the future of that genre or anything like that. It was just really good at doing that. Does that make sense?
I think that is a fair. Yeah, I think that's a fair take. I still think it does stand out and take a bit more of a unique take than you're given credit for, but that's just my.
Now,
derail from the.
I do like that. I do like that record. I do like that record quite a bit. Do not get me wrong.
I'm fucking with you, bud.
But here, and SOUL GLO album has this too, which we'll talk about later. SOUL GLO and especially Hellfire to me represent what the future of music is going to be. It's going to be more deconstructive, more cycling through genres, more just coming up with different ways to mostly evoke emotion and explore different ideas that go away from the conception of traditional rock genres, traditional song styles.
I just want to say something with that, with your deconstructed comment. You know how you might not know this, because I don't think your country's big coffee drinkers, but in Melbourne there was a couple cafes that went under fire and stuff for serving what was called Deconstructed Coffee, and it would pretty much be you'd get three different cups. One would have the hot water, one would have the coffee, and one would have the milk, and you had to pour and make it yourself, and that was the Deconstructed Coffee. And a lot of people were saying, "What the fuck? Why are you doing that?" So now you've ruined this album for me because now all I can think of is Deconstructed.
I mean, that's your fault, not mine.
I think it's a bit of everyone's fault.
Sure.
But I full on agree though. Yeah, it's Deconstructed post-punk.
Like, that's the thing I liked about the Stomach Book record when we did that last year, is that the Stomach Book record was also just kind of leapfrogging around, doing different things, trying on different styles, and doing largely whatever they wanted to do. It felt like a curated artistic album. This is obviously a better representation of doing that style because, like I said, this has a whole theme, vibe. You know, the old country, old world kind of idea is very interesting and unexplored in music, especially right now.
Now, do you know how many people you're pissing off by pretty much saying that Stomach Book walks so that Black Midi could run?
2?
Yeah, about that.
I really love that Stomach Book record. I come back to that record quite a bit. Do not get me wrong.
I love this album more than I love myself.
But, like, I will end up loving the Black Country New Road record more. That will be my favorite, probably. But this is the better record.
Yeah, I know, I get what you mean. Especially when I was just doing my cooked comments with the fanclubwallet one.
Yeah. And, like, I will talk more about SOUL GLO when we get there, but it's similar to that, but different still. And that this is so... Like, I love the incorporation of, like, the Frank Sinatra-esque singing, and I love the way that, you know, songs like Sugar Zoo kind of go from, you know, the dynamics of, like, slow to fast, to slow to fast. And
yeah, there's definitely a lot of my favorite word, contrast. In this, yeah.
But then,
in this record.
But then, they do the fucking thing, and they go country. And you cannot deny that they go country this time.
No, I'm not denying it.
And, like, they still make it work.
They've, Black Midi have done, like, songs that have had a country styling to them since Slugenheim. I mean, Western. I don't think I need to describe anything else other than the title of that.
Yeah, sure, fair enough. But, like, you know, it's one of those things where, with an album that is as chaotic but still tightly constructed as this, you know, it feels like some fucked up play, some fucked up story that you're reading and trying to make sense of, and maybe a short story collection. Maybe it's just like a fucking William S. Burroughs novel, and you can barely understand what's going on as you're reading it, but you definitely get a sense of time and place. But the level of lyric writing, the way that the songs support the lyrics, the way that it just will change to suit whatever is happening, is so next level compared to a lot of what we've covered so far this year.
Also, I will just also say as well that when it comes to my surprising of how much I enjoyed this record, even though, you know, I'm the one who's probably more into Black Midi out of all of us because I've been listening since 2019, blah, 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 give me my hipster badge, is that, yeah, we weren't big fans of Cavalcade, me and you, Dominic. I know, Trix, you actually enjoyed Cavalcade the most out of all of us, correct?
I think that's right.
And this one doesn't actually sound too different from the stylings that they were doing on Cavalcade.
No, not at all.
It's just everything just hits better or works better on here.
Yes.
I don't know if it's just more coherent. I don't know if we've had full-on Stockholm syndrome. I don't
Cavalcade
know
walked so Hellfire could run is a better comparison.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, you know, the Caval Covers EP, which we've not covered, is a really good kind of gesture as to what they were probably thinking about in between making that and this.
I don't know. I didn't hear any like love country pop songs on here.
I mean, the three tracks on there are fucking 21st Century Schizoid Man, Love Story, and Moonlight on Vermont.
Yeah.
So, like, Jordy Griep has the fucking Beefheart down. Like,
yeah, there's no surprise on that.
And, like, you know, I've not listened to the King Crimson record, but, you know, it's prog rock. It's the genesis of prog rock. It is doing that kind of stuff. And then I think the Love Story is the Taylor Swift version, and there's the Taylor, you know, the more country-ish stuff in a way, the more modern influences. But
I just want to say, should we probably actually start talking about the songs on this record? We talked about all the vibes and all the shit that's going on, but I don't think we've actually talked about the songs on this record yet.
Sure, where do you want to begin?
Let's start off with Hellfire, which that's where you can start to see this kind of like narration stuff about, or like the storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely it's just like an intro narration to what this whole album fucking is.
Yes,
And
and
then we go straight into Sugar Zoo, which starts off this like kind of like wrestling and
yeah, like a
mode
boxing
exactly.
wrestling match, and then it goes into
Are
this
you ready?
for
See what
some thunder. Definitely not. Are you ready to rumble? No way you could be that.
No, no.
And then the song basically feels like a boxing match or something.
It's ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for the sporting event of the year?
Yeah.
And then yeah, at the end, yeah,
Let's
that's the follow
see
the lyrics.
some thunder.
Thunder.
Which is really accurate and great as far as like getting that announcer vibe down.
Yeah. So Dominic, are you going to be suing Black Midi for the stealing?
Stealing what?
Yeah. What was the May Day graduation?
Oh, I mean, I didn't
The
even think
Learned
about
West
that.
Clash of the Century, February 31st, 2163. I was there, but could not see. It being a 3-foot free super fluorescent thing. Sun Sugar in the red trunks, Sun Sugar in the blue, both ran to the center of the ring, while the rhinestone suit continued to sing. It's definitely talking about the crowds, fights happening here.
Yes.
Doesn't
Holy
quite
shit.
get into
Holy
yours here.
shit.
But yeah, are you going to be suing Black Midi?
No, fuck it. Why would I? I'm not that kind of man. They can copy my work all they want and make it better. As we talked about, my work, my draft needed work. Hello.
Dominic is actually speechless.
Oh, there we go. Hi.
Like,
I was just saying that I'm not going to sue them. I'm not that kind of man. They can copy my work all they want.
now the other big difference from this album compared to the other one that I chose and that we just talked about is that this one definitely feels like an album. The flow on this, you could just actually just shut up, not look at, or close your eyes, not even look at the timings, and you'd probably think it's one big song.
So in some ways
Because,
it is.
Yeah, because if the flow is near immaculate.
Yes.
Like, I actually didn't realize that Eat Man Eat was playing. I thought it was still Sugar Zoo.
But like looking like I'm looking at the lyrics now for real, and it's like this is really about the audience in a way.
Mm.
And there's the fighting, and then the one guy seems to bleed and everything. Yeah, I can definitely see the resemblance now to Mayday Graduation. But hey, whatever. I just like the song more for that.
I'll just collect the royalties in the mail.
I mean, we could talk about the fucking like arpeggios. Just the fucking guitar on that track is fucking incredible. Like it gives a real metal feel to it in a way that I really dig.
The actual one thing that I do, like, I know this does sound like Cavalcade, blah blah blah, all that. The cover art is very similar to Cavalcade.
Sure.
But I still think there's enough of a difference on here. I think the only one real complaint that I have, like, obviously I don't think this is a perfect record, and sometimes I'm like not so keen on the pretentiousness that Black Midi has, and sometimes it just goes like, okay, yeah, we can get to the next part now. But one big complaint here is that I look at this artwork, and outside of Welcome to Hell, it never really seems good.
Maybe, I don't know. I kind of disagree with that, but I feel like in a way that's like a multicolored, fascinating, weird kind of version of like there's like I don't know. It feels like a sea is out there being covered by all this weird vegetation. That it gives me a little bit of old world vibes, but maybe not to the extent that it should. But I'm okay with that. I think it also represents the weird, just cacophonous, off the wall fucking song stylings.
Now, we'll also talk about the lead single, Welcome to Hell. That song just absolutely fucking goes hard in the second half of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sniggering fuck. It reminds me kind of both well, it reminds me none of both of quite a lot of Black Midis kind of thrown into one, but yeah, it kind of just works, Like, I get Sweater vibes, I get Chromatica slow, so like kind of slow loud vibes. Wrong
sure.
one on there. I kind of
as
just get the vibes of old Black Midi songs into this one work, but yet
yes,
it's not like clusterfuck.
I think because they couch it in like a storytelling thing, and they kind of lead you along with the story of like this military, they're on leave, and there's gonna be like this person's being kind of coerced into hooking up with like a sex worker or something like that.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
like
the
kind
music
of what
video for this
happens.
is like the music video for that song is like kind of like an acid trip.
Yeah. And it kind of just goes through then just all the fucking shit that happens as this sailor kind of goes on and does the thing. And I don't know, like, and that's kind of where a lot of the comparisons, I think, to the old fucking 20th century novel shit just really comes forth to me, because it's like, this feels just like a scene from a novel. This feels like the characters have been introduced to us, but now we really see them in a different element, and then things are going bad for them in a way.
Friendship with Mastodon ended. Now Black Midi is my new best friend.
Private Tristan Bongo.
I say that jokingly because Mastodon is my best friend, but
was Mastodon your best friend last time? I don't even remember that.
No, I didn't put it as my number one. I liked it, but it was...
The private's name is Tristan Bongo.
Mm?
That's the last line. He's hereby discharged.
Good record.
Yeah.
I like Black Midi.
I mean,
I think a bunch of nice boys.
We're not done talking about this.
No, I don't know. I'm just pointing that out there.
Fair enough. Trix, do you have anything you'd like to add about this at this point?
It was weird, and it did not make the COVID body aches and all that any better.
I can see that. I can definitely see that. Especially when you get to a song like "The Race Is About to Begin,"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
which I'm gonna look at the lyrics because I cannot follow what he's saying after a while. Because
I'm gonna search that up
because it is a race, and I think it's Jordy that's singing. He just fucking does it like it's a race. Like all the fucking lyrics are just gone through so fast. The vocal flow is there. The vocal flow is tight. But do I fucking know what's happening? No way.
I also like that, like, Jordy's now kind of, and Slagenheim knows a lot more kind of variety between singers, and it's not like it's just Jordy that's still kind of doing it, but yeah. Jordy's kind of like coming more into his own as kind of like the lead vocalist.
Yes, and I think that's a really interesting choice that I like.
Well, he's one of the more unique vocalists out there, especially in the post-punk, where the post-punk is dominated by a lot of like kind of same as kind of styles happening in there.
Yes.
And Black Midis don't even need like a unique vocalist to kind of stand out, but like they have one.
Yeah. Like, I think the thing that's interesting about his stuff is that I can barely tell where the meter is actually in his lyrics. Like, he just pauses and, talks in a way that's not even really singing it or giving it like song structure, but more just like conveying it as it needs to be conveyed.
I can't wait until we finally cover Schlagenheim and we're doing BM, and you have to just understand what the fuck he means when he goes, "She moves for purpose." Because I still don't know what the fuck he means.
But like, fucking verse 7 on this song is where he gets so into it, and it becomes just this.
And I just want to point that out again. Yes, you did hear that correctly. Verse 7.
Yes. Like, it's just line after line after line. He's saying it so fast that it's just pretty much filling the space as this race is going, and everything is kind of coming back. Like, Schlagenheim is mentioned in here. He's just saying stuff like no choice of anything, no sin, no life, no fun, no time, no any fucking thing, no one, no yes, no house, no shack, no way, no beat, no C, no etc. No one, no two, no etc. Yeah, it's just fast, tight. And I'm right. There is kind of there's a through line here. Sun Tzu is mentioned elsewhere in the song.
Yeah, there's obviously there's Sun Sugar's hometown is talking about him there. There's a lot of just kind of like tying everything together that happened throughout this album, which is
it's a shared world of stuff that you may not necessarily get or understand, but it is there if you want to know what it is.
Like, in 20 years, we're going to have a generation of kids, if, 20 years from now. And a generation of kids will be a bunch of high schoolers fighting about the meaning of Hellfire.
And you'll have fucking hour-long videos talking about the connections and all the lyrics are meaning.
Finally, we would have forgotten the Beatles.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
The old clown can be a martyr, and the whore can be an angel. The hack becomes a master, the crass becomes divine. The infant, the infinitesimal, and all sins are irrepressible. No use digging holes to hide. The rupture comes and leaves no stone unturned. So don't wish for anything. The clown could be a martyr.
Man, I love the new JPEG mom here.
Also, I thought it was interesting reading about Black Midi again that they also had a member of the band leave recently.
So, is it actually confirmed that they're not coming back, or is it still hiatus? Because I believe that was before Cavalcade.
Yes, but he's not back for this. There's no word, I don't think, since.
From what I remember, it was a mental health break, so it could be as... It could even be like an Isaac Wood situation.
Right.
I don't really think there's going to be much speculation worth doing with the info that you're given, nor should it be done.
I just think the comparison is interesting that both bands had a similar event happen so close to each other.
Yeah.
And that they are
I don't know if from what I remember, the person who left was the bassist and occasional vocalist, was not a lead one.
It was not Isaac's equivalent. It was not Jordy.
Yeah, it wasn't Jordy or Cameron. It was yeah, it's the bassist. And I don't know if they actually... I think they might have done a bit with Cavalcade, but I don't think they did much.
Yes, they did some writing on it, but not much.
But obviously, this is all just me talking about memory. The member's name is Matt, and we're just going to say Kelvin, because I can't pronounce that.
Sure. But considering how tied together these two bands are, and, you know, that happening right before Cavalcade, and Isaac leaving right before Answer up there, you know, if they can turn it around and make their third album the best one yet, just like Black Midi did, at least I'm not listening to Schlagenheim, I'm assuming here. But if they can come back with an album that's even better, I would love to see that comparison still, that parallel still being there.
So a little fun thing for everyone. This is currently their best charting album in UK, Australia, and is that Belgium? Yes. And Scotland as well. Haven't gotten the charts back for Japan, which, well, it might be it did not chart at all. And US indie, it actually has not charted, surprisingly. But in these 4 countries, it is the best charting album so far.
So I'm on Genius looking at the lyrics for Race is About to Begin, and they're fucking auto-playing a loud lyric breakdown.
Yeah, that's that's the next greatest blues.
The contrast is just so fascinating to me. And I love seeing all the notes that people are putting into this, just like they all fucking know what they're talking about. Like, yeah, they say some stuff in some interviews and they can call back to other tracks, but like I feel like this is something that you really have to sit with and like try to really understand a little bit more than a week or 2 in to really make in-depth lyrical notes.
Now, there is one picture that I am looking for. It is I'm pretty sure it is the Black Midi. Yep, here it is. It is the pic that I'm pretty sure that they use for their Spotify bio. And I don't know how well this is going to post over on Discord, but it's just a beautiful fucking pic.
That's beautiful.
That's great.
Obviously, because people can't see. The 3 members have edited their faces onto pictures of bodybuilders.
Lovely.
Yeah.
So great.
Then you have like songs like Dangerous Liaisons, which is just this whole story about murder and this farmhand being hired for contract killing, and the story just unfolds with every verse. And I don't know, I just find that kind of stuff really interesting and cool. Like they focus so much on stories and tying that to the music. Like I'm very fascinated by how this came out, especially compared to fucking Cavalcade, and the defense becoming more about like religion and cults and
that's
disciple.
What I'm talking about tying back to, it's weird that I've been comparing this so much to Schlagenheim despite the different sound, but like the opening song of Schlagenheim 953 is actually about religion and cults. So they're kind of like doing ideas that they've done before again, but they're kind of like doing them in different ways, which is cool.
Yes, and the defense gets to the point that I really like, where I think it's Cameron that's singing this one, and he really embraces the fucking like Frank Sinatra influences. Like this could almost be like a weird lounge song in a way. I would love to see this in an intimate bar.
Next time my mum hosts a barbecue, and
Yeah.
she goes, "Hey, can you set up some songs on the playlist?" I am 100% sticking a Black Midi song and seeing what happens.
That'll be hilarious.
I'm just imagining like a piano or acoustic version of this playing in like a jazz bar. I'm prostrate and supine, well-groomed divine. Whatever you like, please, sir, tonight.
I need to get up as well. There was one playlist I did create. It's a completely irrelevant story, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna forget it regardless. It was when we had our housewarming. Ash allowed me to create the Spotify playlist,
Oh.
and I was intentionally like, okay, let's set this up in a fun way. And what did I call this? See if I've still got the playlist. I called it something fucking really stupid. It's my party and we're playing 100 Gex Mum is what I called the playlist.
Okay.
And I sorted out the playlist from very accessible to start off the party to inaccessible at the end. So it starts off with having the it wasn't like completely like that, but it starts off by having Paul Dempsey, Dustin Tebbutt, Bob Evans, Elliott Smith. Very casual chill ones. And then the end song is the Hand Crushed by a Mallet remix.
That's pretty great.
How many Dissonant Waves tracks?
I need to go through it all, but the whole point was that if the party was still going on by then, they would clear it out.
Hell yeah.
It's like my father playing Captain Beefheart to close at the record store back when he worked at a record store.
It's a genius play.
Frowland. 27 Questions is a great closer to this album as well. Just kind of painting a picture of like this dude who is like this artist, this vocalist, and then his like last big show and how sad it is. And he comes through with this really interesting, beautiful, like 27 questions supposedly that are like addressing life, the universe, free will, religion, everything. And then he just like fucking dies before he can even finish it.
Huh.
I just think it's interesting and cool. I don't know. This whole album is pretty fucking good. I've never heard. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna say, remember how you picked an album that said this is gonna be the one that overtakes BCNR?
Yeah.
And then it was an album that I chose that did it instead.
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I'm good at choosing your number ones of the year, aren't I?
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
I've never heard an album so closely relate back to like sports and 20th century adventuring and the military and sailors and everything and come out across so good and futuristic and mind-bendy like this. This is a unique subject matter, a unique execution of it.
Now, Dominic, I'm just going to put you on the spot again before you finish any of these sentences, and you have 30 seconds to answer this question from when I have finished the question. How does this compare to Origami Angel for you?
Oh, I mean, Origami Angel is still better. Origami Angel is a 10. Origami Gang is a 10 record. This is a 9.
There we go.
Not as strong of a 9 as Fantano, but still a 9.
I have now put Dominic on the spot twice. That is probably not going to be the last of it.
No, but that's totally fine.
Well,
favorites, least favorites.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's time to get the favorites and least favorites because it's been nice hearing you absolutely gush over this album, but we got some other albums to talk about.
Yes, and I want to make sure Trix actually gets some sleep at some point.
I've got to go get a COVID test pretty much basically after we get off of this podcast, so
yeah,
it's fine.
Favorites: Sugar Zoo, The Race is About to Begin, 27 Questions, Welcome to Hell, Hellfire, The Defense, Halftime, Still, Eat Men Eat. Least favorites, none.
Favorites: Sugar Zoo, Welcome to Hell, Race is About to Begin. Least favorite: if I had to pick one, it would either be Eat Man Eat or Still. Probably Still.
And I'm gonna claim the COVID excuse again because I am absolutely fucking fried.
Listen to the album once in COVID, had a panic attack.
Basically.
COVID's a new blunder. COVID's a new blunder.
Imagine 1 week Trix just goes, instead of blunder, just goes, yeah, COVID. Like 3 weeks after this.
Yeah.
No, I'll keep that in mind.
So let's flip over now to the other album I thought was going to be a big deal, and it still is. But I'd like to talk about the Diaspora Problems now, the SOUL GLO record that has been out for a little bit that we have neglected to cover until now.
Can I live? 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 I can't continue. Fucking
I've never heard an album start with a bong rip that's supposed to sound like the 20th Century Fox intro. So I mean, that has that going.
I just want to say one thing that I didn't realize we'd done before this album was chosen, but we have a massive Homer's Ware connection on this.
Yes, the Pierce Jordan was on fucking the Record Setter split.
Yeah, I didn't realize that that's who Pierce Jordan was.
Yes,
yes. Until I had seen the names on there, and which is after this was chosen, so I didn't realize like a connection there.
So the problem that I had with this connection was that I assumed because Pierce Jordan was on that EP split that he was trans, and I do not believe that he is.
No.
So if I address Pierce as she, I apologize.
Listening to all the other issues raised in this album, I don't think that would be his biggest problem.
No, I don't think it would be either, but I hate getting pronouns wrong.
Yeah, I know.
Drek, you were going to say something?
I think this was my favorite album of the week.
That's surprising, since this is like a hip-hop punk album. This is also one of those...
It hit all the right buttons for some reason, and it might have been the COVID, but I really enjoyed something about this album.
Yeah.
I just need to say a couple words about this album very quickly, and I've already still got no changes to my number one of the year so far, blah blah blah. But the words I just need to say are holy shit.
Yeah.
There are some moments on this album which I'm not so keen on. Mostly Driponomics, I think just is very.
I like Driponomics.
I like Driponomics too.
I don't hate it, but I'd rather hear it on an EP than on this album, to be honest.
I'm more mixed on songs like Thumbsucker or 5 Years in My Family.
Songs I'm absolutely not fucking mixed on though. Gold Chain Punk.
Gold Chain Punk just fucking rips.
Who the fuck gonna beat my ass? Holy shit! I've never heard somebody like just scream that fast, that loud, and that constantly. And I'm thinking, do I need to actually pause and just digest what he just said? I'm fucking following along.
See, I was trying to follow along lyrically, like on Genius again with this, and I could not.
No, you read the lyrics and you just stop. You can't figure out what the fuck you're doing. But you just actually just shut up and listen, and you're actually following along. He's pretty fucking clear. There are some great lines in there, like, obviously I'm not gonna repeat all of the words because I'm white, but is it possible to, piss off your therapist? I'm just asking for a friend, try to not read too much into it. Or, there's the one that was really an actual fucking classic on Gold Chain Punk, which I'm just getting the lyrics up now so that I don't fucking get it wrong. God, I wish Google was better than it actually was. Here we go. Yeah, half the time I see my best self as someone who know what he deserved, and I wake up on the next day unable to relate to the meaning of the word.
Yeah. There's a lot happening. Like, the reason, like, his vocal flow is so good that he can make anything work.
And it's not even always in English, like, they literally just go into Spanish at times, but it just flows so well, they don't even fucking notice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I mean, that whole fucking, like, the guitars just coming in with that fucking Can I Live part, which is just... There's a GIF on Steam for a Steam sticker. Trix, are you on Steam at the moment?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay, cool. I'm going to send it to you. And you're going to see what absolutely I mean when it comes to the dancing that's in my head when those chorus fucking goes on with the Can I Live?
One sec. Yeah.
Yep. Dominic, you can't see it, but it's a good old gif of an alien just dancing like an idiot.
Sure. Yeah. Smith & Wesson in my hand, in my pocket, who gonna beat my ass? Out here drunk, I don't give a fuck who gonna beat my ass. Say more, say less, it's all the same. Like, this is like deep confessional lyrics.
Yeah.
All of these. And like we could talk about how, the screaming and the absolute passion can sometimes bury them, but I think they support each other more than anything. And like there's so many topics that get covered in terms of like the fucking world and parents and kind of your relationship with your parents and oh my god. Like fucking 5 years in my family. My parents are good people. They deserve a healthy son. The way they raised me was a natural pathway to punk. Their support, of course, was privileged, but authoritarian.
Also on the other song, which is one of my fucking favorites off here, is the lead single "Jump or Get Jumped by the Future." Living on Juice WRLD, Pop Smoke time. I'll be in my future. Come try to remove it. I live only for this. It's how I must do it. There's no way they can take it. What I say and skew it. Rest in peace, Shiner, Miss Taylor, and Mr. Aubrey. What can activate the rage that we're harboring? Ain't nobody trying to kill me that hard to me. Like, let me get a gun and you can get it all from.
Yeah.
And that's all said in like 10 seconds.
Yes.
Just holy fuck. Like I need to stress again, the vocal flow on this. It's not that it's just fast and loud that's impressive. It flows perfectly with the instrumentation that's happening.
Yeah, it's in time. It's perfectly synced. It's ironic. Like you can compare this, and the race is about to begin.
This is just straight up just impressive songwriting. Like the music theory behind this, a lot of people will probably not even focus on because they'll probably think this is just fast and loud. But there is so much that has to go into making sure every part of that actually works. Like, if one word of that didn't flow right, you would fucking know.
Yeah.
But you don't know because it flows right.
Yes, and I cannot even imagine the work that goes into making sure this all flows right.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to talk about the whole living on Juice WRLD Pop Smoke time. I'll be in my future. There was, as I was reading it, they were talking a bit about, I think Pierce was actually talking about how there was a sense of like, we got to kind of get our fucking name out there, and like, it's worth noting, this is a black punk band, a majority black punk band, and that's not a super common thing. And, there was a bit of worry about, we got to get our name out there before they kill us, before they, before we were gone and our time is already over.
Plus with that all black punk band coming as well. Well, the majority. So the actual music video actually does a bit of a joke as well, because the joke is at the start, it's like, what's it like being the only white member of SOUL GLO?
Yeah. But the reason I bring this up is because ever since the release of this album, they have not gotten killed. However, the controversy with Ruben has kind of jilted things in a sideways direction anyway.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, only so much little information has come out about it, and it's one of those ones which I'm not going to be that person who takes any side, especially publicly, on it, because I just don't know enough information. All we do know is that it's a former member of Jank, so allegations coming out doesn't particularly surprise me.
Yeah, so left Jank when the allegations came out for Jank. Then allegations came out against him specifically, and around the time this album was coming out, and had to leave then. Right, it was more like kicked out, I think, that time.
And for those who do not know about Jank as well, which we won't go too much into, despite being the premier Midwest emo podcast.
Yeah,
Jank did not last long. They, I think their following lasted like a month, pretty much, and then, oh boy.
Yeah, they had like an album, maybe an EP.
Yeah,
I liked what I heard of Jank, if I'm going to be honest.
I liked what I heard of Brand New, but I'm still afraid to say that publicly.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, what you knew at the time, what you know now are very different things.
Yeah.
But I think there's an interesting comparison to talk about, like, okay, so no one has, like, come out and, like, done anything violent to these people in this band, but the circumstances have still maybe killed their interest in keeping SOUL GLO going the way it has been, because they've been very open and honest about, like, we don't know what's going to happen now. We kind of don't want to do it. It's kind of what I've been reading and kind of the vibe I've been getting, but they're like not sure.
Well, they're still doing the live act. The ironically as well, the person who in the music video who asked what's it like being the only white member is actually the touring bassist at the moment.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I saw a bit of their live shows because I was really interested to see how this would go live, and holy fuck, Pierce Jordan just sounds the same.
I'm sure, like you have to.
Yeah, and the most interesting one actually is I don't think it's happened yet. They were touring with Turnstile for one show for the My Chemical Romance tour.
Oh, that's so fucking interesting.
Yeah, there's the Soul Glow and Turnstile opening for My Chemical Romance, which that one I would go for just for Soul Glow and Turnstile. And when My Chemical Romance plays, I'll just say, yeah, I'm sorry, I've had my fun.
I
I
mean,
was a young boy. I left the My Chemical Romance concert.
I do think
Grab
that
a t-shirt from Kmart because it was $5 on clearance.
in 2009.
That's a reference to my brother leaving the opening act of the pop show to go pick up some t-shirts from Kmart.
Do you have a Kmart there still?
Yeah, we have. I don't know if our Kmart's are still Kmart's, but we have Kmart's.
Oh, interesting. Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys also still have Woolworths too, which started in my hometown, believe it or not.
Woolworths/Safeway. That's a grocery store here. I don't know what it's like in America.
Woolworths started in Utica?
Yeah.
Weird. I didn't know that. Yeah, I would say this album in some ways is kind of like the same revelation and reception that Turnstile got last year with New Love Heart Design.
I liked this better than Turnstile.
I did too.
Turnstile was Glow On. That was the album.
Glow On. I'm sorry. Yeah, New Love Heart Design's one of the songs.
Yeah. I mean, I probably agree that I actually enjoy this more than Turnstile, but that also comes from somebody who still thinks that Turnstile album absolutely fucking fucks.
But the thing I wanted to talk about as far as this relates back to Black Midi and what I was talking about earlier is that this is also a really concentrated blend of genre fusion, going for punk, going for hip hop, going for emo, going for metal even. And unlike Black Midi, where all that's kind of like thrown together and kind of in and out, really dynamic, this is a really even blend. The point where everything is just together and you're just kind of sussing out what influences are in this track versus this other track.
Yeah, like I like to try and call this album like a hardcore punk hip hop album, but it's really hard to actually give it a genre.
Right, because you have like the fucking breakdown for Who Gonna Beat My Ass. You know, it's a fucking breakdown. It's so fucking good. But then you have like spiritual level of gang shit at the end, which is like a really smooth, almost like jazzy track to kind of end things, and then it gets some more hype and energy at the end. And I love that kind of stuff where it like they really go through like the different like slow and fast, but it's like Black Midi keeping it consistent. I mean, that's probably the song where I noticed most how different it was versus Black Midi, where it's all clearly different but all still related. And this is, a very evenly distributed, like, statement of what future music could be, what future punk and hip-hop and hardcore and emo could look like, together or separately.
Plus, we get to have the good old fun of talking about when songs get political and stuff like that, about what makes a good political song and what doesn't make a good political song. Soul Glow thankfully goes into what makes a good political song.
Oh, yeah.
It's that they actually have some fucking statements.
Yes. Oh, what is the end of, is it John Jay that has that really, that pulled quote?
Let me search very quickly.
Or is it God Bless Y'all?
With my perfect Google machine.
Or we once were, like, where they talk about, like, I don't trust people, especially, like, white liberals.
Yeah.
That stood out to me.
Yeah, that was, God Bless. It might have been God Bless.
Yeah, I don't know if it's in the lyrics, but there is other ones. There's the last part of We Want's Revenge. I was in 3rd grade and very fucking afraid on the day I was radicalized. It was 9/11. I was 9, and it was the first time my dad's mortality was in front of my eyes. I'm so bored by the left, protests, and reluctance to militarize. No one's left blind by an eye for an eye unless you make the same mistake twice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that goes fucking harder than anything that the other metal albums we were covering recently really do, or Green Day, for that fucking matter.
Yeah.
Guys, government is bad. Give us money.
Like, if we're talking Emotionless and White, Strapping Young Lad, Green Day, Harvey Milk. Like, Harvey Milk had some moments that were more personal and talking about stuff like The Anthem Will Fall talks about the mother and the violent man and going into the depths of, like, masculinity, toxic masculinity and stuff like that. And Strapping Young Lad had some political moments as well, but this definitely just blows all of that out of the water.
Even what I said, probably my least favorite on here, Driponomics. That one's pretty consistently against the trickle down economic system that's in America,
Yes.
and unfortunately most capitalist countries.
Also wanted to mention, I had thought about this when we did Team Meccano, but they had the fucking same vocal sample that kind of thing. That was in Coming Correct is Cheaper.
Yeah, that's at the start of that. It's from the start of that.
Yeah, and it's in fucking Classic Project, Classic 2000.3 or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really weird connection.
SOUL GLO and Team Meccano to do the best collaboration album since.
You joke. You joke.
That would be very interesting.
That would be a great like kind of like a side thing of like, yeah, we're still not really sure if we want to continue, but hey, let's go with like this Hex D group and figure some shit out. That'd be a really cool way to like explore some more like uncharted territory.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing I like about Black Midi is this thing is a lot like the thing I like about Diaspora Problems here. I just like Hellfire as an album more. I have tracks on Diaspora Problems that I'm not as big of a fan of comparatively. But they are both still the future of music. They are both still really cool beacons and just really cool just like signals of fans to pay attention to. And as things get more and more homogenized, how we can find differences and find, how homogenization of at least genres can be interesting. Not saying that they should be necessarily, but that like breaking down the genre barrier can result in really good things.
I have no words to say, but I agree.
Like, yeah, the SOUL GLO record fucking rocks. And
that it do.
Indeed.
Favorites, least favorites?
Favorites, yeah, Gold Chain Punk, Jump or Get Jumped, Coming Correct is Cheaper. Least favorites, Driponomics.
Tricks?
I like the whole album.
Hell yeah. My favorites, Gold Chain Punk, Driponomics, Spiritual Level of Gang Shit. My least favorites probably like 5 Years in My Family or like Thumbsucker.
Well, which one do we want to talk about? Do we want to just get this? I don't really have much to say about it, so either one of them actually. Which one do we want?
Let's talk about Husbands.
This is an alright pop album. Yeah, it was alright. Didn't hate anything off it.
No, really solid.
Wasn't insanely impressed. I think if we didn't do fanclubwallet, this would have been a worse choice because we didn't have anything else poppy to compare it to. And I think it's just fine if you're looking for something in the background, which it turned into for me. Good.
Yeah.
I didn't want to search.
While I listen to this album.
That sounds like a great experience. Actually listening to this, trying to focus, and not so much.
Yeah. There were some cool moments. I did like parts of it. There were some songs I wasn't as big on, but it's good synth pop. It's an overall album that I like generally and don't hate. It's not gonna be in my top 10 like most of the other shit here, but in a worser week, this would still be number one.
My other issue with this album is that it doesn't really get catchy until the end. Like Ayo and Deep Freeze are kind of the best songs off here.
Yeah, I like The Party has some cool moments.
Yeah, like it stands out a bit more comparatively to its own album, but it's like, yeah, I still think the catchier moments happen at the end, and then it's just like it's over, and it's like, okay, well, that was alright.
Now, the thing to keep in mind, of course, is that the two members of Husbands are husbands, but not to each other. They're very straight. They're just called husbands. They're not the husbands from California, and they're not husbands from France. They are the husbands originally from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
I just want to say, them not being husbands to each other is the greatest lie a band name has ever given me, ever since it turned out that women was full of men.
Apparently they met in college.
I just want to say,
yes.
Never forget why women broke up, and that was because of the fight on stage. One of the greatest moments in music history.
Apparently they met in college and were doing a Godzilla musical together. I would love to see what that was like.
That sounds incredible.
Yeah, no, I probably actually would have preferred that album, to be honest. Like, this is fine, but
yeah, but
I
one of
really
them is
just
a
preferred that.
but one of them's a lawyer, one of them's a software engineer, and this is their side gig.
Now I relate. Who's the software engineer?
His name is Danny Davis.
Danny? No, I feel you, man. I'm sorry.
But I think it's, one of those things where it's like, yeah, we're friends, we're gonna make music together, and then they did, and then it actually got popular. So now they're just like, well, I'll have my day job and this side project where we're a synth pop duo, and they do songs about Garth Brooks Boulevard.
I've kind of already lost things to say about this record, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's what I was meaning when I said I don't have much to say about it.
Why is it called Full-On Monet?
Fucking, I don't know.
What are you gonna say, Tricks, now?
I was gonna say the only thing I really have to say about this album is that I cooked meatloaf while listening to it.
How was the meatloaf?
Pretty good.
Was it just like a regular meatloaf? Did you add anything special into it?
Nothing really too special. It was just a pretty solid basic bitch meatloaf.
Could you taste it at that point?
Yeah, this was earlier in the week.
Fair enough.
I'll post a photo of the meatloaf. Hold up.
Episode art. I do remember saying that the song had like 5 minutes. Definitely took more than 5 minutes to write, it seemed like.
Yeah, I haven't really gone into the lyrics of this album because, like, granted, this album became very much a shut off and just enjoy it in the background record.
Yeah.
Which, like, you say this would be number one in a couple of the other weeks that we've done. So I'm actually going to take a look at the past couple of weeks that we've done, and I'll say which one realistically would that be. And I mean, the Cryo covers one I enjoyed more than this. It wouldn't be in that one. Petrol Girls one I enjoyed a lot more. Porridge Radio I enjoyed a lot more. Regurgitator I enjoyed a lot more. 100 Gex, Distillers, Health, Kieran J. Callan I probably enjoyed more.
I will say personally that I enjoyed this more than Porridge Radio.
Yeah, I mean, Julian K, Paranoid, Homer's Westwood even, King Park, Wildlife, sorry, one, Ballpark Music, King Gizzard, Pup, even I'd probably put that Shaky Graves live album. We have the Rush Week. I'd put it above Re-Wriggled, but I wouldn't put it above Griefeater.
Hell yeah.
I'd put it above, I guess the Moving Steels maybe. Wouldn't put it above Big Scary. Wouldn't put it above Fourth Wanderers. Wouldn't put it above Pup Again or JPEG Mafia. Wouldn't put it above Cordy Elba. Maybe put it above Hot Flash Heatwave. That's a bit debatable. Yeah, maybe this week it seems. The one that's Alex Cameron, Alice Glass, and Shaky Graves Can't Wake Up. Maybe on that week.
That's the week I was specifically thinking of.
Yeah, but I'm looking at a lot of the other weeks that we've done. Like, we haven't had a bad year for covering, and
no,
I know we do say there are some weeks in which one would win, and if we go back to previous years and stuff, that would be true. That is a nice looking meatloaf, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, that is true. But when it comes to actually what we've done recently,
we went on fire.
I think we've covered quite a lot. That it's kind of like this one feels like you're saying it could be number one in any week. And I'm not trying to be hyper mean to this album, but I will be anyway.
Not any week, but like on a lesser week.
Well, it feels like it feels like it's just being considered out of like association to all the other stuff we're doing.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Like when I'm actually thinking about like all the stuff that I listened to this week, it's kind of like Husbands is kind of like, yeah, I listened to it. Yeah, it was fine. But holy fuck, I listened to Black Midi, fanclubwallet, and SOUL GLO.
Hell yeah.
And I listened to that Deer Hunter thing like kind of like late because I kind of forgot for a bit, but then actually listened to it. And then it's just kind of like, yeah, I listened to that too, I guess, didn't I?
I'm gonna be honest, I have no memory of Deer Hunter.
Alright, that's fine. That's fine.
That's fine. Dominic's just about to...
I'll listen to it again when I'm not sick, okay?
That's fine.
Dominic's gonna pick it a third time, holy shit. The Deer Hunter will never actually be able to get onto the next album. The year is 2027. And Dominic is still picked the Annex EP. Come on, guys, give it a listen.
Let's finish up Husbands so we can move on to the NXEP finally. Favorites on Husbands, Full-On Monet. Like the parties, I like that one. Had like 5 minutes, I like that one. My least favorite's probably Garth.
I agree. The least favorite's probably AO and Deep Freeze.
My favorite song off this album was the Meatloaf I made.
That's the most base take you've ever had.
That's the most feverish take you've ever had.
Fair enough.
I just want to point out when we're pointing out some absolutely great takes. Splendor in the Grass is happening in the top of New South Wales at the moment, and that's why acts like Pup and JPEG Mafia are here to side shows for that.
Hella yeah.
And the first day got cancelled due to torrential rain, and I was talking to my friend and I said, this is probably not good. If Splendor goes under, that's a big draw for international acts gone. And he said that he was glad that the first day was cancelled because his ex was there.
I can feel that.
Just a blessed take for everyone to hear.
Yeah. Anyway, Deer Hunter, the Migrations Annex EP. Second time around. We do not have Migrant any longer to compare it to, but I still feel now that this is better than Migrant.
Yeah, I can't really remember Migrant, so it wins on that aspect due to timing. As someone who really only just listened to this once, had it on, thought, yeah, this is pretty orchestral, and yeah, this is kind of rockish. Went, okay, now let's go back to SOUL GLO.
So, like, the thing I like about this is that each, like, it's very much it's like a B-side that's an EP. It's not meant to be a cohesive album. Each song is very different.
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't call this one a blender if I wanted to get out of trouble here.
Yeah. Like, Dig Your Own Grave has kind of that, like, more jazzy, like, you know, show tuney kind of thing, and Old Demons has that a bit too. But then you get a song.
Honest,
yeah.
Dig Your Own Grave is like the other one I kind of cared about.
But like then you have like a song like Middle Ground, which is more of like a impassioned, almost bluesy, like lower fi vocal style that I thought the vocals were really strong on that one. I think what's his name? Casey Crescenzo? Yeah.
I can't remember off the top of my head, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was gonna say Crescendo, but I didn't think that was right. It's Crescenzo. But he's a really good vocalist, and I think a song like Middle Ground, which shows him kind of doing like an old timey styling, is really good for that. Then you have like some of the more sappier songs like Owls that I think, you know, that's like just a different dynamic that it just makes the song stand out, and it's like a little cutesy, like, you know, love song, will you get another mouse for me kind of thing. I you know. And then you have the finale, the Love, which is like a more inspirational, you saved me kind of song, and I was depressed and suicidal and I got better because of you, or something like that. So there's a whole gamut of stuff. You know, there's a loose, you know, collection of different kinds of songs that I really enjoy, that I think were better than the fucking album that they came with.
Fair enough.
This was just, I don't know, it was B-sides, I guess, to something we did before, and maybe it would have been better to do some more Deer Hunter that maybe would have been a bit more interested into this.
Sure.
Just like I said, to be honest, I almost forgot to listen to this. I gave it a listen this time, and I only gave it a one full listen, but I gave it a listen, and I can't really remember the song titles outside of Dig Your Own Grave off the top of my head, and I don't know, maybe I want to like the D Hunter B-sides more than I actually did, but it was just a bunch of B-sides, and yeah.
That's fine.
It's hard. I know you want to talk about this, and it kind of feels like bad on my side here, because it's like, you know, I want to be more interested in, and obviously like you have a lot of love in this EP, but it's just kind of like, I don't know, here having actually listened to it, this is probably how you guys feel when I overhype something.
Well, I just want to point out that we almost accidentally put the Migrations Annex EP in our top albums of the year because no one wanted to take it off, because I was the only one who knew anything about it.
Yep, that's the beauty of our rankings, is that shit.
Yeah.
Why would we have coherency in a podcast that's got no sponsors or no reason for us to lie whatsoever? Why would we? We're just three idiots who decided a couple years ago, hey, wait, actually, I should save the speech for the anniversary episode.
Let's make a podcast, and here we are.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm very curious to see how I felt about this last time around. But now that we're focusing solely on this, my favorite tracks this time are Middle Ground, Owls, Dig Your Own Grave, Old Demons. My least favorite's The Love.
Favorite, yeah, Dig Your Own Grave. Least favorite, I mean, yeah, just it's not like it's a blender. It's just that I don't really have that much comparisons to actually go and say, hey, this is my least favorite. There's no excuse that I can do of it doesn't fit well on here comparingly when it just is a song. So, least favorite? I don't know. May as well at that point just say Dig Your Own Grave again, because why not? Pretty much the same
Favorite,
meaning.
least favorite. Who fucking cares?
Forget about
Trix, you didn't listen to it, or did you? You forgot.
I listened to it, but I think because of like the COVID and just everything, I couldn't.
That's fine. I can give you the excuse.
I will listen to it when I'm healed, and I will let you know for sure.
Okay. So let's do our rankings for this week. I'll go first. Number 5. We have 5. Yeah. Number 5 is Husbands. Number 4 is Deer Hunter. Number 3 is fanclubwallet. Number 2 is SOUL GLO. Number 1 is Black Midi.
Trix, you want to just go yours in like 2 seconds?
Yeah, Deer Hunter, Black Midi, Husbands, fanclubwallet, and SOUL GLO.
So number 5 will be Deer Hunter's Annex EP, because why not? It's actually just the least memorable out of all of it, but it's not that too far off from number 4, which is Husbands. Number 3 is fanclubwallet, and it's hard to really have a clear ranking on this, because I think SOUL GLO's got higher highs, but also a bit lower lows, and Hellfire is just more consistent.
Yeah.
So I'm probably going to have more SOUL GLO songs in my rotation, but number 2 is going to be SOUL GLO and number 1 is going to be Black Midi.
Yeah.
It just, as an album, Hellfire's.
Yes, as an album, it is better. All right, which then leads us into, well, number 1, we're going to have our anniversary show recording 2 weeks after this because we're taking a week off.
Yep.
Then we're going to do our anniversary show, which we're also going to be covering how do you pronounce this band's name?
The Hotelier. So I'll do the little thing for this, because why not? I'll obviously do it. So usually for our anniversary episodes, we don't do a specific album, but since over the past year we've become the premier fifth wave emo band, I decided, and by decided I mean force the other people as well on this podcast to bend to my whims, that we will cover an album that's probably actually really important to the fifth wave scene. Not for the sound, but for inspiring a lot of the acts that are in the fifth wave emo scene to actually go and pick up a guitar. And that is an album that is considered by all. Doesn't mean that I particularly consider it my favorite of the scene, of the fourth wave emo acts, but it is considered by a lot of people to be the peak album of fourth wave emo, and that is the Hotelier's Home Like No Place Is There.
All right. Very excited to talk about that and listen to it and everything. But then we're also going to talk about what we're going to do when we come back and have our first full show back in a few weeks. Technically 3 weeks. Yeah.
Yep.
So I'd like to go first.
Go ahead.
There's a reason I picked the Migrations at XCP.
We're doing more Deer Hunter.
I think I know.
Oh fuck! Are we doing the entire color spectrum?
We are doing the entire color spectrum.
Yeah.
We are doing all 9 EPs and the album. So
well, the album doesn't really specifically need to be done because it's just a short collection of 11 songs.
It's not a short collection. It's a full album, taking 1 or 2 songs from each EP and creating its own album from it.
That's what I meant by that, sorry.
Yeah, I want to have that in there to talk about. Can this be condensed? Is this possible? But we're doing the black EP, the red EP, the orange EP, yellow EP, green EP, blue EP, indigo EP, violet EP, white EP, and the album, the color spectrum.
Now, I just need to actually take a look at the. I need to take a look at the 11 on there, but I believe that the answer is no. It cannot work as condensed because I believe some of the best songs aren't actually on that.
Which is what, yes. So I want to talk about that. You know, I want to like discuss like why would they choose those? Why would they not choose other ones?
Yeah, I'm just taking a quick look at the 11 on there. Well, actually, no. Well, there are some songs which I do think are great, but actually some of the best songs are of that 11. So maybe I am wrong.
Have you listened to the color spectrum?
I have listened to the color spectrum. I have it on CD. I have the full box set on CD.
Okay. Damn. Okay.
Yeah, all 9 EPs. It actually comes in 3 discs.
Damn. All right.
Yep.
I'm super excited to talk about it.
Yeah, I've been ahead of this one for a while. I believe I was talking about this before we even talked about Deer Hunter.
Maybe. I can't remember. But it's possible. But yes, we are doing this because we have some time now to digest all of this, hopefully.
Well, damn.
Yes.
That also brings 13 more songs into the playlist, gets into 4,000, but those obviously doesn't include songs on Spotify. Trix,
Right.
what are you picking in 3 weeks?
I was gonna just do one album and like be easy on you guys, but Domino kind of forced my hand here. I'm going to be doing Talking Heads Remain in Light. I'm also gonna bolt on to that Talking Heads Stop Making Sense. I'm gonna make you guys watch that.
I already watched it. You two need to catch up.
I've already watched it too.
I have not seen it. All right, so we're doing.
Trix, I've already seen it high too. So.
Yeah.
Fuck, I need to do that as well.
Yeah, already way ahead. Well, I'm guessing if we're making people listen to multiple, and if we I was gonna pick one, but if we're doing multiple and stuff on here, why not join them? And we're picking the what's seen as the premiere 4th wave for the anniversary.
Ooh.
So why not I continue on?
Ooh, are you gonna say what I think you're gonna say? Probably not, but I'd be very excited to hear it if it was true.
Nah, I have a feeling you want me to say origami.
No.
But alright, well let's see. We are going to do what I think for one is the premiere 4th wave emo album. And then we're going to also pick the do the album, which is my introduction to the 5th wave. So for 4th wave, I believe that is Marietta's Summer Death, and for the 5th wave, for my introduction into it, that is Awake but Still in Beds. What people call low self-esteem is really just seeing yourself the way that other people see you.
Okay, that's not what I expected, but
What did you expect?
Twin Fantasy, both versions.
Nah. I mean, that's debatable, and whether or not to consider that into the emo kind of scene as well, when it's more, especially since the first one's more considered kind of the lo-fi scene.
Fair.
But
Summer Death and
Summer Death from Marietta, and make sure when you're listening to Summer Death as well, the one on Spotify, the original one, some of the samples were not cleared, so they're removed. So listen to the anniversary edition if you need to, and there that's got all the samples and stuff. It is just the same track listing.
Okay. And Awake but Still in Bed, what people call low self-esteem is really just seeing yourself the way that people see you.
Yep.
All right.
Which, doing that in this kind of way, the Hotelio I think is a pretty important one to cover first, because again, as a lot of people seem to consider it, even if I don't personally, consider it to be the best album of the 4th wave. And here is just my personal thoughts after that, and then the introduction to 5th wave.
Okay. So, to recap all that, I am choosing the Color Spectrum by the Deer Hunter, the Black EP, the Red EP, Orange EP, Yellow EP, Green EP, Blue EP, Indigo EP, Violet EP, White EP, and the album The Color Spectrum itself. Trix has picked the Talking Heads, Stop Making Sense, the concert, as well as Remain in the Light, the album. And Ritz has chosen Marietta's Summer Death, and Awake but Still in Beds. What people call low self-esteem is really just seeing yourself the way that other people see you.
Yep.
And they are playing 2 days from now in Chicago with Your Arms Are My Cocoon, actually, which is funny.
Damn.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But that is going to do it then for this episode of Dissonant Waves. My name is Dominic. You can catch me online on Twitter at DACICHOCKI. I have a YouTube channel, Dominic Chikoki, but there's nothing really much on it, so If you really feel like going there, go there. I'm also on the Games My Mom Found podcast. We just recorded an episode about Radical Dreamers. So whenever that comes out, I guess hopefully I'll link it here.
I have been Ritalin. You can catch me on my website, ritalinforkids at github.io. I also have a YouTube channel that's in the description below. That was said like so slurry. Fuck.
It's fine.
I've been Trix. I have a Twitter account, and I really got to go get to a COVID appointment.
Yeah.
It's gonna do it for us, everybody. Have a great day. Good night. Get better, Tricks.
Thank you.